Fast Market here on the Schwab Network. We're going to take a look at earnings. Dell Technologies, who would have thought, up over 120% so far this year, hit more records this week. Let's bring in Diane King-Hall, senior markets correspondent here, give us a breakdown pre-earnings on this one because the bar is pretty high, Diane, on this. But if you listen to the commentary out of NVIDIA, you know, Dell's their partner in this server build-out. AI, environment that we're in. So maybe these gains are warranted.
Mm-hmm. And that's part of how Dell has caught a bid recently. Yes, shares are getting a haircut heading into their earnings today after that record yesterday. But here's what the expectations are. Adjusted EPS expected to come in at $1.25 a share. Revenue is expected to total $21.7 billion. Now, to put that in perspective, last quarter EPS was $2.20 a share, and then in the same period a year ago, Dell reported $1.31 a share. So it would be a little lower, but investors are going to be looking for how deep and how wide is this AI integration at Dell. Right? You talk about it being a legacy company. We know it for its PCs. There's one sitting next to me right now, but Dell has talked about its progress within the AI space. It showed that it's not just an old school computer company. It's not an old school PC company, that it's got more tread on the tire left. It has this partnership with NVIDIA, and NVIDIA, as you mentioned, even called it out in its latest earnings report as Dell being a part of its, quote, rich ecosystem of partners. So Dell has that to its advantage.
Yeah, Diane, this is a pretty interesting story when it comes to this because Dell currently has about 30% of the mainstream server market, right? Which means these partnerships with NVIDIA and AMD, they're partnered with them too, means these AI optimized servers right now, AI related business is 5% of their revenue. Think of the growth in AI that can happen, and think of the potential for Dell. It's pretty crazy if you think about how big this company could get.
Yeah, and there's a couple ways it can grow when it has been, kind of growing within the AI space. It's both what you talked about, and its partnerships with NVIDIA. It's got this infrastructure solutions group, so a lot of attention is going to be paid to that. The AI infrastructure piece is going to be within that, and we're going to look for the details on how much growth is happening there. It's also got these new AI PCs that it had revealed this year as part of this new category of these Microsoft Windows PCs. So it's developing its AI footprint in a variety of, in more than one vertical there. And you've seen the response in terms of the investor community. The shares, as you mentioned, as you all mentioned, leading into the segment, up more than or around 125% year to date. So it's seen a lot of growth. It really has to clear the bar today when it reports its numbers. And we've seen recent commentary in terms of the analyst community raising their price target on these shares earlier this month, heading into their latest quarterly report.
Yeah, that's, I think, going to be one of the keys going into this report, what kind of information they give us on the backlog, because quarter over quarter doubled to $2.9 billion. Growth rate of 40%. That's quarter over quarter. That's astronomical.
It's massive.
Yeah.
And like I said, AI is such a small percentage that where can it go?
Yeah. Expand.
Yes.
Yes. All right. Thanks to Diane King-Hall, senior markets correspondent here, breaking down Dell ahead of earnings. But now let's bring back in Nate Peterson. Nate, when you look at this one, everybody's kind of overlooking their client solutions group, and that's their PCs, notebooks, desktops, workstations. But that might be the next leg for this company that a lot of people are banking on, is the fact that, hey, AI-enabled laptops and computers are going to be the next, silo of revenue generation or growth, right?
That seems to be what's kind of bleeding into the story. Look at HP, up 18% today. They basically said that they expect on the back half of the year for 10% of their PCs to be these AI PCs, so to speak. So I think from an investor standpoint, that's kind of encouraging that, is the AI PC that close to fruition? Are we here in terms of beginning to see some of this refresh cycle around AI show up this year? And that's what they're rewarding HP with right now. That stock, I'm sure that its implied move was not 18% prior to earnings yesterday. HP normally does not move that much. So in Dell's regard, if they have similar kind of bullish commentary around an AI PC refresh, I think that's great. Primary, though, to what Kevin was pointing out, those AI optimized servers last quarter, what really caught everybody's eyes was backlog nearly doubled year over year and 40% sequential growth quarter over quarter, speaking to the demand for those AI optimized servers. Having said that, we saw Bank of America yesterday, they bumped their target on Dell from 130 to 180. It's about $10 above where the stock is trading right now. I think that's supposed to be a 12-month price target. Keep that in mind. Forward PE is about 23. What stands out to me is the implied volatility. We haven't seen this kind of implied volatility on Dell basically since March of 2020. That was the pandemic low. So implied volatility is screaming heading into the results here, looking for a $21 implied move, or about 12.3% post earnings. So yeah, expectations are high. Options market expecting a big move from this guy.
Yeah, a current IV percentile rank, 100%.
Well, yeah.
That's over a 52-week range.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's elevated going into this.